All right, everyone. What is up? Going to get started here momentarily. Say hi in the chat. And yeah, just another run-of-the-mill live UI UX design stream. Hello, T20S Grunt. Always here every time. I think more so than anybody else. Argawal, what's up? Aniket, what is up? Big Don, another regular. All right. How's everybody's last week doing? I've been dealing with anxiety-related symptoms. It really sucks. I'm not even going to get into it. Jamie, what is up? Yeah, I know. I think it's because of Sunday. There's not going to be as many viewers today. Better for those who are here, though. Higher chance to get your designs reviewed. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. So one thing I wanted to mention is last week I enabled super chats to get to the front of the line, and I haven't done that in a long time. I'm not doing it again. So if you want to send a super chat, it's just for appreciation. It's not going to get you to the front of the line or the front of the queue. All right, just wanted to put that out there. Additionally, another thing I wanted to mention, if by accident I skip your review, I'm sorry. It's not intentional. It's kind of difficult while I'm live streaming, people are watching, and trying to figure out my place in the Discord server, which one comes next and stuff. So anyhow, if you're new to this, essentially this is just a live UI UX review where you submit your designs in Discord. The instructions are in the YouTube description, and then I review them and I give you my opinions on how they can be improved. Sometimes we'll do a rating where we ask the chat to do a rating on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. And that is essentially it. Let's get that removed. And so essentially, what you're seeing here, this is my plug. I'll do this 2 more times during the stream. DesignCourse.com is going to be releasing in 43 days here. And you're going to learn UI UX design in a comprehensive format. And that is essentially video, user interface design tests, and also mentor, where I literally look at the work you do based on project challenges, iterate them, tell you and show you how you can improve as a designer. And there'll probably be around 15 total challenges. So I'm still actively working towards finishing it. It'll definitely be done by January 4th though. So enter your email to get notified when that releases. All right, let's get started with the first one. All right, so let's get our Discord up here. Let's come back up here. I do need to check out something real quick. Okay, yeah, just as I thought. Somebody claimed I did not review their design last time I skipped them, and that actually turned out to be incorrect. I did review their design. Okay. All right, so let's get going. Big Don. All right, rent out. Let me do something. I'm going to take this and move this over here. There we go. And then maybe just push it down. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Did Dawn mention anything about what this is? Okay. So hands-off side hustle. Okay. Rent out your things for a hands-off side hustle. All right. I'm going to scroll down here. Obviously, it's in development. This isn't a live project. I kind of like the color scheme, kind of like a nice pastel sort of colors, at least here and there. So just a couple things that are a little bit strange. This is leaving me wanting to see something here. If you're going to have only 3 cards, you're not planning on adding more. I'm not sure what the case is. I would extend the width of those 3 cards, obviously, to consume this entire area over here. Also, not too much of a fan of the card designs themselves. It just kind of seems strange because it feels like these are centered, but these are left aligned. So left aligning your descriptions versus the titles is inconsistent to me. So these should be centered if these are going to be centered, the titles as well. Looking for anything else, I think maybe you might stand to decrease the width of this column. It's just a little bit long. especially for this section right here. And I would also increase the leading, which is the line height between these areas. The search for anything, I think this could be emphasized a little bit more, maybe made a little bit larger. It's pretty long, but in terms of height, it's not quite there. So you could definitely stand to improve that just a bit and maybe increase the white space vertically between these elements slightly, maybe move this call to action down just a bit. I like the logo, I like the navigation, and I like the call to action up here in this area. You might want to emphasize this more. You could probably stand to make things a little bit larger. Emphasize this area a little bit as well. All right, pretty solid. Do you guys, I guess we'll do the rating on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. What do you all think about this design? We'll check it out responsively. So I do like how when you collapse the navigation on mobile, you could see that he's definitely left the call to action there. He has enough room. So that I'm a big proponent of that. Don't just take all of your links and stick them in the hamburger menu, because chances are you still have some room, at least on larger devices like smartphones. I don't think John Frock is ever coming back. It was a series that not enough people were interested in. I gave my shot. I did like 4 or 5 of those. All right, so I'm going to give this, for what it is, I know it's not finished. I think I'm just going to give this a 7, a flat out 7. And I think that'll work pretty well just for what it is, because there is some empty areas, so I can't get it too much higher than that. All right, next up, I've seen these approaches before in the past. Excuse me. Feels like I've seen this before. Sorry, there's something in my eye crud. All right, so this is one of those areas where I'm not a huge fan of the console approach. I know it's unique and it's relevant based on the fact that you're a computer science student, but you can still have this whole console approach, but you're gonna need to make that headline big, not just kind of crammed up against these fake files and and all this area. You really want to make it very recognizable. And you do that through establishing a large headline and subheadline about, you answer the question, what is it that this person does? And so this you kind of have to search for. That's my primary gripe with this one. Also, establish a better visual hierarchy and alignment between the logo up here and your navigation. I can see the navigation is slightly, like by 2 pixels down, a little bit lower than this. And also, I think your type, like when I say visual hierarchy, these areas need to they need to differ more than what they are. I know this is larger, maybe even a different font. This is slightly bolder, but I think this should be real bold. Move these things over to the right, in between your logo and the white the dark light mode icon. All right, so that's one of my main gripes with that one. Not really enough here to justify a rating, so we're just going to skip the rating portion there. Obviously, this is not mine, but I wonder if you could tell your thoughts on Strappy.io, especially on the how does it work section. Well, let's check it out. How does it work? It's pretty cool that they have this transition between here, scroll activated. I'm not a fan of this little slither here, though. I think they could have done that better. Not a fan of this step 1 being, barely visible. You can make that more visible. Not every single element that you have has to adhere to the WCAG thing, especially when it comes to something that's not that important like step 1, but I think this could stand out just a bit more. This type here is good, but again, I don't want to waste time reviewing designs that where the designers aren't even going to see my feedback. The website, blah, 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 looks a bit backdated, but I tried to make that look modern. I need some feedback on it. I made the website, but not the software it provides, blah, 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 blah. All right, it's just a one-pager. Let's check it out. All right. Too many colors and too busy up there with all of these curves, essentially. It makes it really difficult to even see the icon. And what you're doing here, you're being redundant because you have the logo and you're doing it inconsistently. The logo has a certain type applied to it, but you're using different type here, and you still have the same icon. It's redundant. Get rid of the icon, get rid of curves, and better utilize this hero section. This right here, if you want to use that, I would probably just grayscale it and make a watermark, and then really better utilize this entire hero section, because all it says is an editor of sinew, so I don't even know what the hell that is. But you could definitely have a better headline, a call to action of some sort, because you're not giving me anywhere to click outside of just the navigation. You need direction. So definitely improve that. Same thing with this area. This is really difficult to read, this stuff. It's just all over the place. It's cluttered because of the very busy background. Simplify it much, much more. So I would definitely kind of just go back to the drawing board. Also, like this hover color, that hurts my eyeballs. There's not enough contrast based on these two colors when you're hovering over them. So yeah, I would say spend some time getting I would say inspiration from well-established UI designs, and you could do that by going to Dribbble, Behance, etc., etc., etc. We'll do a rating for this one. For me personally, it's going to be on the lower side, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. What do you all think? I'm going to wait for your reviews. I personally think this is probably somewhere we'll check the responsive design portion. Yeah, this is going to be like a 5.5 or something. Actually, I got to say lower. You guys are right. I'm wrong. Yeah, it's going to be like 4.5 to the 5 area. I think that's fair. All right. Yep. Thank you very much, T20S Grunt. He's pretty much the probably single biggest contributor here to the super chats on the channel. Awesome stuff. Have fun at your Thanksgiving. All right, next up, right here, still a work in progress. Oh, we got some 3JS probably. Let's refresh this, see if anything's happening. The Ringer. All right, so first of all, I have no clue what this is. Ooh, look at that. Let me see. Still work in progress. Okay. Let's check this out further. Anatomy of Ringer. It's an outfitted with high quality components that unleash new possibilities for what the Ringer can achieve. Touch screen? Is this like a concept type thing? All right, so this is obviously a work in progress, not yet finished. So if any of you are curious about how you can create these scroll activated smooth seamless animations, you can check out tutorials that I've created on 3JS, specifically recently in this year. I think I have a few of those that show you how to do this. This is really cool though. I especially like how the light, or the type rather, is kind of anchored to the position of this 3D element. So in terms of actual design, I think this is cool, but I do think we could probably have this up higher and centered. The fact that you kind of leave it open to interpretation, or you're not addressing exactly what the hell this thing is, I think that's fine. Especially if you have some movement here, and maybe the learn more of the scroll indicator could be a little bit more obvious, just so people know instinctually to scroll down. That's fine. In terms of the design here, it's simple enough. Probably some small improvements could be made. I mean, you know, especially on this resolution, it's pretty large resolution. You know, maybe bringing this column over here in a little bit from the left, because there's quite a bit of white space over here. Again, I'm just kind of being picky. We can see here it's probably pretty decent if we come in at this angle. And you might want to do things like, you know, we have different sections here. You can see how high this is up here. It's kind of, I know it's difficult to, especially when you're working with 3JS, to try to get your alignments and all that stuff correct. But like if you're at it, ideally if you're at any scroll or point in your scroll right here, things should be aligned up as best as possible. And you could do things like, you know, like use the grid to get this vertically centered. Pretty cool though. All right, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. What do you all think? Oh, awesome, Sharma. That's cool to hear. Grunt, I don't think that's not Lottie. That's definitely using WebGL or something with something like 3JS. So this has a lot of potential. I'm going to go ahead and give this one an 8. Very cool. Because especially it's a work in progress. It can be much higher depending on, you know, how it ends up. Very cool. Let's go here, eduardo.dev, and it doesn't work. Yeah, that site's not loading. Sorry. All right. Okay, so the issue here is you're not separating out your sections enough. You have this section right here, which is typically your hero section. This is pretty cool. I'd like to see this maybe even larger and maybe just kind of off screen or offside. That way it's a little bit more obvious. But your About Me section right here and your Technology section is way, like, I mean, I'll show you a great way we can improve this. I mean, let's see here. Well, this little headline right here should be with the About Me section, but it looks like it's not. But margin top, like 5 EM, I mean, that's going to be a lot better. Maybe bring your section here down as well. Maybe like 3.5 M units. So now you're kind of centering things a little bit more and not like this, which is the original where things are too cluttered. Also, not a fan of this serif font. What is that? It looks like it's, yeah, it just says it's a serif font. And you're using a sans serif font up here. So you're mixing and matching fonts. Not good for consistency. You want to stick with whatever you're using up here essentially for your headings. Also, I would probably rethink a way to lay these out differently. You could do possibly like a carousel approach or a card-based approach. Just not a fan of how these are so close together in terms of white space vertically between each other, but then there's a massive amount of white space in between them. So yeah, the type here can work. I think the biggest issue is you're mixing these serif fonts, and I just don't think it's a good use. Not enough visual hierarchy either between these 3 different elements. So you might want to rethink that a bit. Also, these buttons or these tags are a little bit confusing when you have 2 different, you have actual call to actions, but those don't stand out hardly at all. You should be reversing the design of your tags with this button here, because these are just tags. They should not be, they should be like these buttons down here. Less contrast. because it just doesn't make sense otherwise. You want your call to actions to stand out more. So definitely do that and reverse that. All right. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. What do y'all think this person deserves? Also, I would get rid of the gradient as well. Again, that's another inconsistent application of the heading, your titles. There's no gradients up here, yet there are gradients here in the text. So I'll probably give this one like a 5.5 or so. Yep, pretty much agree. All right. I'm not sure if I did this one. Yes, I just did. This one I saw before the stream began, and it really reminded me of my site. Is it just me, or are these very, very, very similar? Which, you know, I don't even care, but it just really reminded me of what I have going on at DesignCourse.com. One thing I wouldn't do is you're slightly changing the font size in your heading from each line. I don't think that's good. I mean, you should stick with the same font size for your headline. So I would definitely improve that in that regard. But yeah, this is looking quite similar. But again, I don't really care. Outside of that, I'm not a fan of these types of illustrations because they just feel generic to me. I think it's definitely worth maybe investing in something that's a little bit more interesting in terms of your headline illustration of some sort. It just feels cheap for me. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, and maybe I'm being unreasonable. But sometimes maybe it is a matter of adjusting the colors to match the theme a little bit more. Having like a pure white laptop here kind of looks strange to me. Not enough design here for me to really worry about rating this, so let's just move on. Submitted last time and added some texture to the hero page. All right. I do remember this one. So when you say texture, I imagine what you added is probably this kind of isometric cube Tetris sort of thing. That definitely helps, because I remember there was nothing here and it was just all this stuff in the middle, and there was this massive empty white space. So it's definitely improvement from what I can recall. I still would like to probably change things up a little bit, like current favorite tech stack. That seems like a personal preference sort of thing. I'm not sure if this is the most wise area right here, because this is pretty large and it's kind of competing with your primary headline. So I might, if you're going to keep this section, make this smaller for sure and probably push it down. It seems like you're giving this a lot of importance, and I just don't think it's that important what your favorite tech stack is. So maybe remove this section and have a call to action here, and maybe figure out a way to better fill out this area. And I'm not really too keen on, I'm currently really interested in front-end development. You make this sound like more like a hobby. So that's going to lessen, people. You want to make yourself sound as serious as possible if you actually want to do this. So currently really interested, it sounds like currently, whatever. So really think about the words that you choose, because they can make a big difference. Somebody, a potential employer or somebody looking for a website will read that, and that could be the difference between them choosing somebody else versus them choosing you. So really pay attention to the verbiage that you're using. All right. Now, given I already reviewed that one last week, we're not going to bother with a rating at that either. Let's do toxic here. Here we have a very minimalist, monochromatic design. Let's see. All right, Hostnet.io, support products, policies. All right. All right, let's do this. Let's take this. Oops. Let's get the headline. H1. Font size. There we go. That's better. Let's also take these. Now you have a background. It's barely discernible from the rest of the page. Maybe boost them up a little bit. Oops, wrong way. Let's get this background color here. And then let's do a little bit of a border radius. All right, let's do. Let's see, where's the padding at? And then also what I would do, now we have increased padding, but the problem is it's like there's not enough width. We want more width, probably at least out to here for these 3 cards. And then that way they won't feel so crammed. But if I refresh it, you'll see it's not gonna have as much typographic hierarchy between the two, as you can see, because it's pretty small given the amount of space that we have. So just looking at this, obviously this is a work in progress, it's not finished. I would like to see maybe if you wanted to integrate some sort of color on buttons. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a button or whatever, but it would be a good area to have color if you were going to have color. Man, I am sneezing. Excuse me. Now, so again, not enough really here to bother with a rating, because it's still a work in progress. But let's see. That was toxic. Can you review my Figma design? Created this design for a coaching institute. Oh my God, there's like a million pages. All right, please don't message me. Okay. I don't know which page to choose. I will tell you that. I'm not sure if... It looks like there's a page right here. I'm just gonna go back. We'll view it like this. All right, so one thing that I like to do, because you can't tell the difference between this background and I can't change it, like right here, they're blending together. So when you have a design that's like light like that, I like taking the canvas background and making it dark. There we go. All right, so now we can kind of view this better. So like this area, that should be moved up. All right. You have some issues with scale. I would say this contact us and see blog should be larger. I'm not sure if you set these up so that I can do this easily. Again, like the contact, like size 14, way too small. Get that to like 18 at least. That would be better. And drag these out. Ideally, these would be set up correct with like auto layout and all that, but no big deal. Outside of that, this is an okay section, but look, you want to push this over to the right, so the right of this section ends up to the right of the end of the button login. Or you could even do something like this and just kind of extend it all the way out if you want, and maybe align this right here. So finding ways to align your layout, like especially with your photographs and stuff, can help just create nice consistent columns and structure within your layout. And then like this right here, maybe bring this in a bit. Yeah, probably leave it just like that. This right here, too small. 16, I'd bump that up quite a bit and probably remove, it's a decent amount of type, probably a little bit too much for my liking. I want to go more than this. And maybe extend it out slightly, and I can see it's regular. Yeah, it should be at least like this if you're going to use regular. So that's, a bit of a better approach, maybe take everything right here, move it down a bit. And that's better in my opinion. So if we look at the original, that's the original, and then here's my revision. Yeah, you definitely want people to be able to read your sub headline. Again, too small type in these other areas. These areas are pretty good. I like the color scheme overall. I just think the type is too small, and in some places too little contrast. But there's a lot of other good things happening about the design. So I know I kind of broke the layout when I was screwing around with stuff. Or actually I didn't. I don't know why this is like kind of like right there. I'm not sure if that was intentional. I would hope not. Also, when you have a form like this, don't use placeholder values just to state the obvious. People know that your name goes here. They know your email address goes here in the subject and the message. So you can just delete all that and make for a more cleaner, simplistic design for your form. All right. Other than that, pretty solid. I don't like the visual hierarchy between these. It's only slightly larger. So I would probably maybe make those bold and even a little bit smaller, but the font weight between the two can help establish that hierarchy. And then you could also take these and maybe not make them pure white, but make them a little bit less contrast, and that way you really establish a good relationship between headline or title or label versus the actual links. All right, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. What do y'all think this person should get? It's a pretty solid design. There's just some small things about it. I would also reduce the number of links up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Honestly, when it comes to your primary navigation, wouldn't go more than 5 because you also have a login button as well. So like having a blog, like most people probably aren't too interested in that. You could put that in a footer. Notes, I'm not sure what notes would be. That sounds like it's something that belongs in a footer as well. I'm going to give this a 7.4. I think that's pretty solid. All right. Who is up next? Right here. Okay. Is it just me, or do these little 3D icons, I've seen them before, these 3D avatar people, they're a little bit strange to me, a little bit creepy. I don't know. It's just like a personal thing. I build awesome experience. Well, first of all, you're going to want to fix the grammar on that because you're going to want to make sure that that says, I build awesome. Let me double click into here. Can I change the damn thing? There we go. Experiences. There we go. That's better. Hi, I'm Mark. I build awesome experiences. All right. I like this up here. What does this do? That makes no sense. We have home portfolio contact, but then you put home portfolio resume contact. Well, you have clearly enough room at this resolution just to put home portfolio resume contact, right align it, and get rid of the hamburger menu. The hamburger menu is not needed here at all. What are you doing here? Yeah, okay, so that makes sense maybe there when you're on actual mobile, but not up here. So just right align that. Also, I build awesome experiences. Okay, if you're gonna be that vague, which is fine, you gotta have a subheadline to address the features of what you mean. Like, are you a front developer? Are you a designer? It's kind of up in the air, so have a subheadline as well underneath. More white space on the left and right of the View Projects button, I would also say. Now, the way you're using your tracking, which is your letter spacing, kind of not a fan of it. I would just go back to straight up default tracking for this. Also, more white space inside, or in other words, padding. So if I show you this real quick. Let's see, where's the card? See, that's not enough padding in there. So let's do padding That's better. Padding of 2 EM units, M units would definitely be better here. All right. So when you say you're a 17-year-old front-end development enthusiast, I see this at least once a week, I think. For some reason, I understand. It's like a prideful thing. You know, you're 17 years old and you're already interested in this stuff. But if you really want clients, don't tell them your age. I was going to say it. Don't do it. Because people make judgments about it. You know, sometimes rightfully so. You may not have all the greatest experience. Maybe you're a phenom, though. But don't let them make that judgment. Don't tell them your age. All right. I did the same thing. I have videos of my old portfolios back in like 1999 and 2000, and like I would say all that stuff and it's just irrelevant. Let's work together. If this is a link, make that more obvious. At least underline it like this. All right. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. What do y'all think this person should get? Creators Horizon has to be in Discord. The instructions are in the YouTube channel description. Gamelia or whatever your name is, it's very difficult to pronounce. There's a lot of stuff that I cover that has to do with UX. For instance, I just talked about the ad copy. I help fix grammar. That's not UI design. I also talked about whether or not this image is appropriate. That's a UX topic. I also talked about this navigation up here. This is a UX topic as well. Does it make sense to have a hamburger menu on desktop when you only have that amount of links? So that's actually a lot of what I talked about was UX related. So I disagree with you. For this, I do like the colors, very good contrast. There's a lot happening here that is pretty good. So I'm just gonna give this a straight up probably like 6.8. Yeah, that watermark barely visible. You could probably stand to make that maybe just a shade or two, a little bit more contrast, and maybe center it behind this text. Although again, you want to keep it pretty low contrast like you do now. All right, next up is, all right, we did this, we did that. All right, how long have we been streaming so far? 37 minutes? Oh my God, where did the time go? Well, in that case, we've definitely got to mention DesignCourse.com. It's in 43 days on January 4th. It is releasing for everybody to join. And essentially, it's going to be a robust course where you have video. There will probably be around 15 hours of video. Right now, I have about 9. Also, user interface tests, which you can all take those right now. If you click play, you can learn how to take these tests, and there's just fun ways for you to help identify the UI design fundamentals that have been improperly applied to these designs. So like contrast, very lacking contrast right here. So I know we can fix that. It'll show you what it should be. I know white space is inconsistent over here. Need to push that over. And what's the last one? Alignment. See these little status icons, how they're up higher? So I know alignment's wrong with that one as well. And then it shows you, show the before and then the after. And it will just help you identify and build an eye for design. So I have dozens upon dozens upon dozens of those in the actual curriculum outside of this free thing. And then also, most importantly, is the mentor program where you submit your designs based on design challenges. There's going to be like 15 of those with a real big final project at the end, and then I look at your project, I make adjustments to it, and then give you feedback as well. So definitely check that out. Enter your email to be notified when that launches. All right, next up, I could definitely tell you this probably does not pass our WCAG. Yep, contrast is too lacking. Probably can't see it on your desktop here or based on the stream, but the contrast is 3.54. You need to get that higher to at least 4.5, I believe it is. So, we'll take this color, and we want to just Get it down a little bit. There we go. That will pass. So if I hover over this, it's now at 7.3. So that's a lot easier to read. So if I refresh, you'll see just a little bit. It's not terrible, but just bump that up a bit. Maybe make it a little bit larger too, in terms of the font size. Here we go. We have another full desktop. And okay, so this is a hover-based one. Really small links. I might want to rethink the design of these. If you're going to keep this, I wouldn't left align them, maybe just, or center align them. I maybe left align them, because it kind of feels like a strange alignment when you have two columns that are next to each other like this, where they're both centered. You kind of lose any semblance of a structured layout like with a column that's been established. So I would probably adjust that. And here's the thing, I think you're, in terms of a UX and an IA, information architecture standpoint, when it comes to structuring your navigation, determining which pages to show in your navigation, you have space. You have space to put it. Social media icons, those are usually an afterthought. Over here, I would at least put some, I would put a link to your portfolio, and probably a link to contact or hire. That would make more sense in my opinion. In terms of the colors and stuff, I like the design here. I really like this area as well. Those are all, look like well-polished designs. Again, probably stand to make your type just a bit bigger than what it is. Probably a little bit too much leading here, which is line height. It kind of blends in with the amount of white space you've had between these two elements, so it's like they're not two distinct structured type-based elements. So like if we take this, line height's 28 pixels, we could probably 20 pixels. Now that's better. And of course, I would bump everything up beyond 14 pixels. They say the minimum size should be 16 pixels, but I could say maybe 18 pixels here. Now, of course, when we do that, we might want to bump that back up to 28 pixels. That's a better approach right here, in my opinion, than what was there before. So if I refresh, we'll see how small it was before. Way too small. In this section, it feels too open-ended because most of your designs, your thumbnails are completely white and it's blending in with your background. So it might make sense to take the background of this section and make it very off-white. So for instance, let's do a background right here. Okay, I know I made blue, but I was just getting a quick color there. So probably just making it gray, that might make more sense. I didn't realize those thumbnails weren't actually pictures though. So you're kind of running into the same problem, so never mind. I might want to wrap these in white cards though. That way each of these are a distinct card and project in and of itself. I'm not sure if maybe I can do that real quickly based on your markup here. I did not mean to click that. Let's do background. Let's take this. Background, white. Padding, or no, wait, margin. All right, so here's what I mean. I know it breaks the layout. We don't want this, but here's what I mean with having each section be their own background card with a very light gray background. I think that would work much better than what we had before, which is kind of how everything's very kind of just open. It's just a small gripe though. All right, pretty solid. What do y'all think this person should get for a rating? 1 being the worst and 10 being the best. For me, I'm gonna go ahead and rate this a, because it is pretty solid. The only thing that's really wrong is just scale for the most part. So it'd be like a 7.8 for me. Yeah. All right. I think I just did that one. Yep. Yep, seems like most of you agreed. Breathtaking ancient artwork. All right. So it seems like everything here is. I would like to take this. I can't, for some reason, I'm not able to grab the, let me see here. How about a haircut? How about you be quiet, dude? Unfreaking real. So your, let's do that. Everything's locked here. All right, so like this section here, definitely need to have more white space between your elements. Like that is much better than what you had before. I just need to keep ungrouping stuff. There's groups within groups within groups. There we go. So that's a little bit better of an alignment. I'm not too keen on the colors here. I'm not sure if these two colors contrast well and work well with each other. Maybe we could take the same color and just change the brightness a little bit. This gives it more consistency, I think. Just using the same hue, but just making it darker. I think that would definitely work a bit better. Again, lacking white space big time between these elements. That is way better right there. Same thing with this section. All right. Yeah. So just those few adjustments, I think it has a lot of potential. I'm going to say probably want a little bit more line height too on this section up here. There we go. That's better. We'll do a quick rating with this. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. For me, I'm gonna go ahead and give this a rating of, I think like 7.2 would be pretty decent. There were some things, you know, that definitely needed fixed, like just in terms of white space, things needed to be drug out a little bit further. Very cool. Next up, all right. Trying to figure out where my spot is. I think we just did that. Yes, I did, okay. Just started this one and I wanna know if I could change something to make it better. Eco website. Yes, you certainly can change some things to make this better. So this background image, this watermark, I can see it is like, I'm not sure if it's worked and baked within the image itself. We have an opacity of 0.3. All right, there we go. You know, you might want to break that opacity to 0.15, I would say. That way, this area has a lot more contrast, the type sitting on top of it. Additionally, you know, small things like this, padding on side of this button needs to be improved. So padding, not that much. Let's see. I do 1 AM and then like 2 AM. Now, of course, I knew that throws off the alignment of that area right there, but I think that's a little bit better. The amount of type you have here on a sub-headline, I would probably try to think about reducing that. But if you're sticking with it anyhow, I think you need to take the line height and adjust that to like maybe 1.7 EM. That's better. Margin bottom to push that thing down a little bit, 2 M units, maybe 3. And then also, yeah, so that's a lot better. Might want to make this type bold, or and or black, because there's not a lot of, I would probably make it black and maybe slightly larger. All right. Ooh, what's that? Definitely don't want that. You know, one way to kill a design is just to have no white space, big time. So like this padding, like 10 a.m. and then take your about us, margin bottom. That's going to be a lot better. I could still improve the type here. Not enough line height. Oh my God, I can't stop sneezing. But yeah, if we refresh this, that's what it was before. Huge no, no. All right, not enough design here to really worry about a rating. I would probably give it like, especially with this, that really throws off at least like a point or two. Probably like a 6. But yeah, definitely has potential for sure. You definitely want to use colors a little bit darker so that you increase the contrast of, you know, this, because this bright green with the white text on top, a little bit, nowhere near enough contrast. If you're gonna use something like that, use black text. All right, let's see what's happening here with our stream. All right, we'll do 2 more. Website for wedding videographer. I'm not sure if I've ever done a video on M versus Rem, but I know Kevin Powell has, and they're out there. All right, let's see here. This has potential. Good card design. Might want to take this section, give it more white space on top underneath this label. Yeah, this is all pretty solid. I like the unique approach here with the cards and the unique layout. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, this is all pretty solid, I would say. Not too much majorly wrong. In fact, I would say there's very little that's wrong. I mean, I'm not sure what this says, but a little bit too little contrast in this section. But again, it's a small gripe. Definitely need a little bit better structure here in this area, in this section. Maybe move things down. You could probably put this in a second column over there, and then put more white space underneath this section to separate this stuff out more. But yeah, very solid as it is. I'd probably give this one an 8. All right, we're gonna do one more review. I have to pee really bad. Something's been going on with me. I've been peeing like all the time. I don't have diabetes. I hope it's not something like enlarged prostate, but I'm not peeing a lot overnight. I like pee once during the night. I don't know what's going on. I think it might be stress or something. Anyway, like you guys gave a crap about that. All right, next up is right here. Anybody who came after them, try to get here early next week. Just I would say, make sure you add the stream ping role to your Discord account and just idle in my Discord server, because I always announce about an hour or sometimes 30 minutes before the stream begins to start submitting, and that way you could be one of the first people to submit. Last one is right here. Seems a little bit boring, plain Jane, I would have to say. Things are also quite large the way it's designed. Like right here, with us coding is a piece of cake, join us. Why would somebody join you? Because I don't know what it is first. How is it a piece of cake? You need to answer these questions. Learn with our modules. My wife's an RN, and she's telling me for certain it has to be anxiety based on her mom committed suicide like 2 weeks ago. So it's affected her big time, and so I guess it's affected me in some strange ways. Anyhow, you want to have better typographic visual hierarchy between these elements. So I would take this type right here and make it mid-gray, but still make sure you have enough contrast. That would be better. Some of your icons are pretty large, so I would probably scale those down just a bit. Get rid of the little drop shadow that's unnecessary there. It kind of just blurs the nice contrast from the element, the background itself. Definitely reduce this. I would even probably just get rid of those or make it a little bit more subtle. All right. Just because I need to go bad, I'm not gonna deal with a rating. I would probably rate this though for what it is, somewhere around like a 6 or so, maybe 5.5. And that is it. So as always, check out DesignCourse.com if you haven't yet. And I stupidly went to my admin page. It's going to be releasing in 43 days. Make sure you enter your email. You'll get notified when it releases here in January 4th of 2022, where I basically just try to make every single person who joins an awesome UI UX designer. All right, everybody. I definitely, yeah, a good stream today. Thanks for T20S Grunt for the super chat. And if I didn't get to yours, like I said, try to get to yours. Try to submit yours early next time. All right. I will see you all soon. Goodbye.